everybody's day.
Hello, Raj. Let's see. So we are live on YouTube.
Cool.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Epic Sketch Time. My name is Mark Monlux. I'm a freelance illustrator in Tacoma, Washington. And Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group that's been going on now for about 6 years. We started doing it in Google Chat, and when the pandemic happened, boy, was this an easy thing to fall into on Zoom. I'm going to have people call out their names, where they're located, on what they're going to be drawing today. Bill, you start us off.
Hi, my name is Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator in Seattle, Washington. I do a web comic called Rhapsodies, and today I am going to be inking some of the strips from Rhapsodies.
Hi there, my name is Roger. I am a cartoonist from Spokane, Washington. I'll be working on animation. Thanks.
Thank you, Roger. Now, I just have to remind myself to look up at the screen every few minutes to see if we have anyone else knocking on the door to come in. I just got a text from Katie that she will not be attending today.
Mm.
Oh,
So maybe we'll hear back from Elizabeth. And we did have 3 other people sign up via Eventbrite, but I was very late in getting out Eventbrite responses to people. Like, I sent them out just mere minutes ago. My head has just not been in the game lately.
I sympathize.
So last Friday, I went and watched John Carpenter's remake of The Thing, not to be confused with the prequel of The Thing. And it was a lot of fun. I hadn't seen the movie in the theater for nearly 40 years. It's
Wow.
been. Well, it came out in 1982, so it hasn't been quite 40 years. And here we have someone else coming in, and Elizabeth is coming in. By the way, folks, we are recording live on YouTube. Just a heads up. Hello, Elizabeth. It's good
Hi.
to see you again. I haven't seen you since, has it been since the convention? Or have you
After
been in?
Grit City was the last
Ah.
time I was here.
Okay.
I'm recording, hence all the blankets around me.
Ah, okay. I was assuming that, or I figured it was either that or you made a cute little tent for your dog.
Both would have been appropriate.
My wife just recently picked up some blackout curtains from Costco, and an additional benefit they have is they're very noise dampening.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
We have them.
we hang them up between rooms in our house because we have an old house, And we found it's easier to keep one room heated rather than having all the heat go up the stairs. So, and the moment you go into the kitchen, the other person is like a voice from Charles Schultz. Yes. So Elizabeth, we've all said what we're working on today. What are you working on today?
I am working on my comic Walnut Razorfang. I am slowly and steadily going through every page and make sure it's correct on the hardback and the paperback.
The spelling corrections and such, or
Right now I'm just making sure the pages are right because
Oh.
there's more pages on the paper in the hardback. So there's like extra splash pictures and there's a space for me to draw an image of Walnut, like for all the people who bought a hardback.
yeah.
Just stuff like that. But once I really started going through it, I was like, okay, this is going to take me, like, I really have to focus on this. This should be its own thing.
Yeah, I've been thinking about starting to do collections again
Mhm.
and sort of wondering what I should do with them beyond them just being collections.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of frustrating. I tried to Google for suggestions, but there are a handful of searches that you really can't do on the computer very well. And I'm discovering that publishing a comic collection is one of them.
Yeah.
It's sort of like saying, yes, these are the comic books that are great investments. And no, not making a comic, not having a comic collection, making a comic collection. And no, not that kind.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should do them chronologically, Bill.
Oh, that part goes without saying. But for example, I mean, for the earlier years, personally, I'd like to cram as much stuff into them as possible so I can get them over with. I mean, there was a few times, especially since I have kind of sort of a soft reboot in the fourth year. I remember at one point I was very tempted just to pretend the first 4 years didn't happen, but I learned that when selling them in the convention, everybody wanted to start at the beginning, even though for me, the beginning is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, you do have to have a starting point. People won't want to buy it otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm facing that. I have all these Return of Stickman strips, and I keep telling myself these first few strips were terrible. But Stickman's never been exactly a high bar, and so I'm telling myself, well, that's okay. And I'm trying to think. Originally, I was thinking the format would be one comic on each page. But now I'm thinking that might not be good enough because I need to go through a lot of these. I've got like over 1,000 of them. And if I did one on each page, that'd be a really fat book that could probably just bomb really quickly. Or maybe I should stick with that format and keep it really kind of small paperback. I don't know. I'm kind of stalled out in what I should do.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because at one level, yes, as embarrassing as things get, I figure chronological order, even though, as I said, after 4 years, I kind of sort of did a soft reboot that I can claim as a soft reboot for assorted reasons. One, the art got better, it got more story specific, the story became much more important. And also I started playing around with a alternative setting that I like to call the My American Cousin verse. And in case anybody's wondering behind the name, essentially the point of divergence, the reason that the America that Rhapsodies takes place in is different from normal history is that at the end of the Civil War, nothing particularly happened on a certain day, but Mr. Lincoln enjoyed the play My American Cousin very much and then went to bed early afterwards.
So no martyrdom, President.
And for that matter, Mr. Stewart enjoyed a good book and didn't notice any, and that was that evening, and that was it.
Oh, let's see. I'm working on, once again, my puzzle.
Ah, cool. How home stretch or
There is so much to color in on this. So I'm trying to hit it one person at a time on the puzzle. And or one area at a time. And I've got this one section towards the back that I'm trying to decide whether or not to make it like a concrete supporting wall, or if I should make it like a green grassy knoll situation. And I'm leaning towards green grassy knoll. And I'm trying to choose my colors based on that choice. I know that probably doesn't make any sense what I just said, but oh, and we have another person trying to get in. So Anne, just in case you're wondering, we are recording this. So if you feel uncomfortable with recordings, just a head up. And I won't force you to show your face unless you do something suspicious. Oh, we lost Anne. I guess she didn't want to be on a recording.
Did anybody see that movie Night House?
When did Night House come out? What year?
In 19, apparently 2020.
no?
I mean, I completely missed it. It just happened to come up as a, suggestion for me.
Was it a horror movie? It sounds like a horror
Of
movie.
course it is. It was a
I've
suggestion for
noticed
me.
that. I've noticed that there seems to be quite a few sequel/remakes coming out this year. When I went to see Dune on Sunday, there was also a trailer for a Scream sequel.
Mm.
So tell us about Night House. Have you watched it, or were you looking for
Oh
recommendations?
no, I watched it. It's really good. It's about Rebecca. Rebecca Hall is the main character, and her husband has committed suicide, and she's really upset about that, as you can imagine. And she starts to think his spirit is still in the house. So she looks at his phone and finds like pictures of women that look sort of like her, but she knows they are not her. In fact, in the first one, she actually thought it was her, and then she was like, "Wait, I don't own a blouse like that." And so then she's trying to figure out what's going on and what was going on with her husband. At first, she thought that he had an affair. And I'm not going to tell you what's going on because that would spoil the movie. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really good. And Rebecca Hall does a great job as the lead. And she's mostly on the screen by herself. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Dennis really enjoyed it.
No, the one of the last movies I watched was a vampire movie that took place on a plane. and it's on Netflix right now. I think it's called Blood Red Sky. And I think it is a foreign film.
Hmm.
So still, I enjoyed it. I would say, hey, yeah, go watch that. I was just telling Bill that I went and saw the remake of John Carpenter's remake of The Thing in the theater, and it was the first time I saw it in many years.
That's on our rotation. It's one of the movies that we've had in like 5 different formats. What is it as good as you remember?
Yes, it was. I mean, I gave it a 10 back in the day, and I'm still giving it a 10. It's still the epitome of practical special effects.
Yeah, I agree. I actually really like the 1950s movie it's based off of.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I think it's really good.
One of the reasons I enjoyed the remake so much was because I had seen that movie so many times. And to me, this is the epitome, the perfect example of taking the original source material and making a sequel that surpasses it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I mean, I'm not going to say which one's better, but they're both are. But the 70s one is probably the epitome of remakes that does not screw up in any way.
Yeah.
But there have been more than that. That is not the only remake.
I know
Yeah, I
there's one in
saw a
the
trailer
90s.
for that third one from the 90s, and I'd heard one critic I read liked it, but I don't remember how, in what way.
Was that the one that starred Nicole Kidman?
Possibly.
Because Nicole Kidman did one that was basically the same thing. I don't know if they called it Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I think it was just called Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I think that they just.
I thought it was called just Invasion, but maybe...
one thing the point that critic made was essentially that they changed the metaphor for each generation. So with the original one, it was very much the Red Scare. With the 70s one, it was very much the me generation, to the point where everybody's so self-absorbed they don't realize what's happening until it's far too late. And I don't remember any of the details of the third one, if we're talking about the same film. But I seem to remember there was a detail about a child panicking because his mom was not his mom.
Now, I still am creeped out by the horror movie Mimic.
Is that the one where she's kind of like, I have to think about which one that is, because
It's one of Del Toro's, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's the one with the giant cockroaches in New York.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that movie really scared me was because the little kids bite it. You know, in a lot of horror movies, the little kids make it through by luck and innocence, but not in Del Toro movies. In Del Toro's, the little kids are up for grabs.
Yep.
In this case, literally. I'm in the midst of watching a werewolf movie.
Ah.
And there's a new vampire movie on Netflix that I want to see. And I'm feeling guilty because I have 1970, 17, a war movie sitting here as a DVD, just sitting here on my desk from Netflix. And I got all these other movies on Netflix I want to see, but they're all on DVD, and I have to watch this movie first so I can send it back. Normally, I would have two different ones going, but I decided that I wasn't watching movies fast enough, so I limited myself down to just a one movie on the rental. If nobody objects, I'll just go ahead and put what I'm coloring on the screen so that people have something to look at besides our heads. Unless people have some show and tell. Does anyone have some show and tell they want to do?
I could show you the Sunday strip I have for Halloween, though I think you've seen it already, though. Have you?
I saw an early version of it, but that's not to say that people watching have
I haven't
yet.
seen it.
Okay, just a second. I have to open it up. Okay, or do you have the share on?
I'm sorry, Bill.
No, you don't.
Let me turn that on. Oh, sorry. I was actually trying to share my screen. Let me stop that. And I keep hitting the wrong button here. And I'm guessing Clayton Starling is just watching us. So Bill, if something suddenly gets
Okay, so this is going to be up on Sunday.
Oh, that's coming out really well. You did a nice job on the people. So some of the faces look like they're light sources
Okay,
because of illumination, but I think this has been a big improvement from when I last saw it.
yeah, I'm mostly happy with it.
I think the second panel is she's a little dark, and it's because of the way you have the lighting going.
Hmm.
But you may want to bump back the shadows and brighten up her skin tone a little bit because they're really fading too much into the background.
Okay.
Or the whole image was just it just looks too dark, especially when his hair is so white.
Okay.
Okay.
It's always annoying since it's supposed to be a dark location. It's sort of how much I want to do the characters explicitly well lit because they're the central figures or not. But
Well, you're definitely getting it across. It's a dark location, but what's also coming across is just that it's a dark comic.
right.
So, but that's just my personal opinion. What do you think, Elizabeth? Do you have any suggestions for Bill?
I see what you mean about the people in the background looking like light sources because they're light. But I think that overall it looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't even have noticed because your eye's going to go straight to the main characters. But that being said, when I look at it, you're totally right, because you told me, you said it. The other thing though I really like is I like the people on the balcony.
Yeah, no, I was very happy how that came out.
Yeah, I really like that.
Thank you on that. Yeah, I mean, this was one of the best examples of how much of a difference the iPad makes. That one went really smoothly.
One of my friends recently got an iPad. So I was showing him really basic stuff. And I wanted to show him more materials, but he got off of Facebook. So it's really difficult to send him stuff to look at because I have to, you know, send it to him as an email. Here I am being old snobbish.
Well, as I have told my husband, I'm never going to leave Facebook until everybody who I interact with leaves, which realistically, we're all older now, so they're probably not going to. Like my friends aren't going to go to TikTok, so that's why I
Now,
stay at Facebook.
Roger was typing in the chat that that we should watch the preview for Goodnight Mommy, a Swedish horror movie. And that the last scene is a mouthful, if you will. I'm kind of going, and then he goes, ooh, and I'm kind of, okay. This all sounds very disturbing now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So on your screen this is my comic so far, or my puzzle, and the coloring I've been doing. And I'm now I'm adding some tinting, or I was adding some tinting to like these shadows areas. You can see like at the bottom of his arm.
Mhm.
And so I was just finishing up drawing this cat. So I was just gonna give him a little shadow. Maybe on the back of its head. A little bit of shadow on his tail.
Oh, wait, Mark, wait a minute. The cattail
It's in a bad place.
is in a bad place, Mark.
You know, I'm just going to leave it there. This is a found object picture after all. And I'm hoping that the orange stripes might be a little too aesthetic. Okay, well, I might have to come back. Roger, I was totally in the land of innocence until you mentioned that. Thank you so much.
So that clock over on the left side, bottom, is that the River Park clock that we have here in Spokane?
Oh no, there's a clock tower in Tacoma that used to be the old city hall.
Oh,
And it's the art museum now, isn't it? Or right next to the art museum?
No, it's nowhere near the art museum. It's a it's a building that still needs to be rescued. So it's at a different part of town. But that reminds me, I should add in a little bit more of a shade around the arm here. And on these little windows.
yeah, it's just it has the same shape and coloring as our clock tower.
I wonder if maybe it was had by the same architect firm.
Could be. Could be. Ours was from the old railway that we used to have before Expo 74. They tore that down except for the clock tower.
Yeah, this is one of the oldest buildings. This is from the 1800s. So it wouldn't surprise me that they have a lot of similarities.
Probably a dumb question. Are you in the puzzle itself?
Oh yes, I'm right here. This
Oh, I
is-
thought that was a cutout type thing from you being the narrator or something. Type thing. Okay. Huh.
and
Yeah, what's exactly those?
this is a UFO that somebody made, and they plopped it into Tolson's Plaza. This was such a great concept. So he built this kind of organic lit up UFO thing. He put it in Tolson's Plaza. He put up a bunch of yellow security tape around it. So naturally, the news came down to report on this unique art object that appeared out of nowhere. Well, once the news cameras were there, he and his friends drove up in this white unmarked van wearing hazmat suits, and they got out, went underneath the tape and started inspecting and making measurements and waving wands over the UFO thing. And then without a word to anybody, went back in to the van and drove off. And oddly enough, that's what the two guys in the hazmat suits are doing there. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to probably make them something other than white, though in real life they were wearing white suits with black gloves and black boots. But the black and white wasn't really working with this color composition. But the sculpture remained unmolested for a couple days. Then he came in, took it, and moved it to another part of the city. And it's currently in the backyard of a house called the Elephant House, which is a private residence that used to be owned by a magician. And the magician actually had a stage area in the basement where he would perform, and had hidden panels and the like in the house. It was quite fun. And that part of the house has, they kept the stage and all, and even some of the hidden panels, but it's been redone as sort of like an apartment. So. And in the backyard, this thing sits as, organic UFOs do. But artists will do just weird things without the city's knowledge or approval. And some of these have been approved by the city. I'm not saying that these are all guerrilla artists, but Tacoma has never been one to, if an artist has a good idea, they just go out and do it. And that's part of the fun of what makes this city pretty special, I think. Yep. Oh, who was that?
Somebody in the back alley.
Let's see. I could concentrate on doing just this person. I want to grab some of these other colors. And I'll just drop them in. There's a lot of gray going on in this image, but I'm finding it's kind of hard to get away from that, with it mainly being cement sidewalks. But I might have to come up and step away from reality to,
Well, you have enough people doing chalk drawings. Perhaps that would be a out.
this is no, I mean, I've got other graves like this concrete wall in the background here. It had steel railings on it. And I'm kind of going, well, steel's kind of got a little bit of a blue tinge to it.
And occasionally it's painted.
Well, not in real life. I'm kind of going, well, how faithful should I be to all this?
Well, Mark, is it chrome steel or just flat?
It's a chrome steel, yeah.
Okay, so you might want to do the chrome crosshatch special effect.
I don't want to do anything but flat fills. I don't want to start adding textures from Procreate. Um, if I start adding texture in one location, it'll look odd if that texture isn't consistent throughout the rest of the image.
Okay, makes sense.
But I think what I can do is make that color just a little different. Maybe if I change this opacity and do a, there we go. I think that'll give me the right color.
And what about the golf ball near Stone?
Oh, I still haven't even drawn the golf ball.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it. Right.
I okay, I think I made this color just an off green enough and can get away with that being an off green because of the lichen on the wall. It'll look fine for the puzzle. Yeah, if I do that. Oh yeah, that's giving it more differential, a little bit of difference. Okay, I'm happy. Yeah,
So how big is the final going to be?
this puzzle is going to be 30 by 40 inches. So because it's in Procreate, that's pretty much limiting me to just 5 layers right now because of because of the huge size of the DPI. Now, if I had more memory in my my iPad, I might be able to do more.
How much memory you got now?
This is the middle of the road model. This isn't your basic unit. This is, but it's not the top. I didn't max out the memory because I couldn't imagine needing more at the time.
I
But
mean,
I knew that I was thinking more about doing video stuff, but it has become an issue.
so how big
I,
is it? 256 or
how big is what?
the memory?
The DPI?
No, the memory.
Oh yeah, I think it's a 256.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there a way I can find that out? Maybe if I go into my systems.
No, you're probably right. Then middle of the road. I'm just thinking once I get mine, well, I already know I'm going to get the bigger,
You're already going for the larger tablet.
larger tablet Pro version.
Yeah.
So I can get the iOS 15 on it. So I can get the 2 new animation.
Well, if you're going to be doing animation work, I would get as much memory capacity or RAM capacity as possible, because that's just going to chew up. Also, when you're processing your video, you're going to need as much memory as possible.
Right, right. Because if these 2 animation programs that I have listed here, Loom and Caliper, they more or less came out in the last year or 2, but they sound great. YouTube videos on them.
Are they very expensive?
I think one's $4, the other one is 20. I don't know.
That's not expensive at all.
No,
They're-
no.
The professional animators were talking about a subscription service where they have to pay like $50 a month for theirs. If you're like doing work for one of the large studios.
Yeah,
What's up, Bill? Do you remember the name of that app? This can-
Toonscape, I think. Yeah, if, Lynn was complaining about that at her talk with Cartoonist Northwest.
So here's the golf ball. Oops, wrong layer. I could tell immediately I did that on the wrong layer. There we go. Okay, I'm pretty sure this model had a lighter hair than that. That looks better. Now here's where I'm going to have to do some creative differences because in real life, her outfit had this gal in the blue with the eyeball in the middle of it. Those wings of hers were white, but she's got stuff in the background which is white. So if I just left those alone, they would look weird. So I'm just going to go and make a judgment call and make them canary yellow. And they'll just look better. I'll make these straps on her shoulders, which were also black. I'll make those canary yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and make this rose yellow. As I make what else should I make yellow? Make this feather yellow.
Oh, that maybe that's a good choice for the hazmat suits.
Yes, let's see how that looks. I think I'm going to go with maybe
You know, the color on the Sonics t-shirt would be more like that warning yellow.
actually I've color matched that Sonics t-shirt.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. That's my friend Chris, and that's very close to what his outfit looked like.
Mhm.
But again, maybe I should go in and alter that to brighten up that yellow. But that's taken pretty much off the photograph. Let's see how close. What's that look like? I bet I could take that, move it over here. Let's see. Yeah. No, for some reason it doesn't look right to me when I do it. I might get flack for that later on, but you know, if it doesn't look right to you, you just have to go with it. Let's see. Well, folks, I just got a text from one of my friends saying that he was going to be in town this weekend.
Very
This week.
cool.
And I had bought one of his books. Yeah, check my calendar, make sure I'm available this Thursday. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry. There you go. Totally forgot we had that going. Now, Bill, your drink and draw isn't this week. No, it is this week.
It's
You've
this
got-
Thursday at 6:30, yes. And also, since Mark always gets on my case about forgetting about graphic artist events, their Halloween party is on Friday.
At what time, Bill?
5:30.
And yours is at 6:30, right?
Yes. And it's Thursday.
And both of these can be found on Eventbrite.
Yes.
Oh no. Okay, I'm going. Okay. I was just talking with a friend of mine earlier about how in Procreate, if you leave the app and you quit the app, all your changes are locked in
Hmm.
that you last did. And he had, Stan.
Yeah.
Well, Stan made a boo-boo. And he lost about 2 hours worth of work because he went out of the app and then closed the app when he meant to go back in. And unfortunately, he didn't do that. And as a result, he messed up his file and lost 2 hours worth of work, which is too bad.
Been there. Not those specific details, but sympathize.
Yeah, you too.
Well, I'm not sure how this happened, but somewhere along the line, when I was coloring this layer, my black lines got in there and they weren't supposed to. And they have since rasterized. And it's making things a little difficult because there should be no black on this layer. And unlike Illustrator, I just can't go in and say, oh, select all of this color and remove it. And it's too far along for me to go back out and redo everything. So I'm stuck with those black lines in there because I have the black lines on a different layer here. So I'm wondering, when did I make that mistake? Oh, well. Live and learn. And nobody else will notice. It's just something that bugs me.
Mhm.
What do you mean? You can't delete the whole layer of black line?
No, you don't understand. I want this layer of black lines, but this layer here is not supposed to have black lines. It's supposed to be like this section here, just nothing but colors and fills. But somehow a black line layer got stuck on top. And what it's doing is it's being extra thick with this rasterization, and it's gone extra thick in some places.
Oh,
And when I don't know when that occurred or what, but now it's forcing me to go back and recolor some areas to kind of work away that hard edge fat rasterization in favor of a smaller. It fixes itself when I do a color fill, but apparently it happened halfway along. So where that color fill, this is all a learning experience. If I
Mhm.
was doing this for a client, they might have the eye and not and see it and knock me for it. But for myself, not really an issue. Well, I can't believe it. Can you guys? It's already 5:30.
Go figure.
Thank you guys for coming and enjoying yet another time of Epic Sketch Time. Thank you, Clayton Starling, for showing up. Clayton, next time you come, if you type in chats or ask for advice on drawing things, we often do that. But otherwise, we pretty much sit around working on our own projects, chatting like we did this time. Thank you, Elizabeth, Bill, and Roger for coming again, and I'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.